from? That is from Sling Blade.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not even my favorite line from that movie. So,
Uh,
because it was not funny, ha ha, funny queer,
right,
right? Right.
right.
That's the French fried potato one too, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the movie.
That's yeah, okay. That's it, it's got a line that I use all the time, and for the longest time I couldn't figure out where it came from. So
Y'all didn't put no gas in
ain't
it.
got no gas in it.
I was just guessing. I didn't know.
No, you nailed it, dude. You nailed it. Yeah. I saw it like a while back, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's where this comes from."
Are we going?
We're going. Yeah, I'm Pat.
Jeffrey. Okay, so that's all right. Y'all didn't put no gas in
Ain't put no gas in it.
All right.
Some folks call it a sling blade.
Y'all calls it a
Kaiser
blade.
blade. Yeah, that's right. Doesn't Billy Bob Thornton actually look young, rather than like weathered?
Yeah, and that was a well. You know, what's funny is he actually. I'm absolutely certain that Tombstone came out before that, but he looks older in Tombstone than he does
He's in Tombstone.
He is. You know that show? There's that
Oh, he's the fat guy with the shotgun.
fat guy with the shotgun.
Yeah,
Well,
that's Billy Bob Thornton.
well, yeah, he's
Yeah.
the guy that gets slapped around by.
Yeah. He's Tubby in that movie, though.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Doc, I didn't know you was in town. So,
Is that a fact?
is that a fact? Yeah, what is it? It's skin that chuckwagon or whatever. Smoke wagon. There we go. Yeah. There was a piece of movie trivia. What the fuck was it the other day? That somebody turned down like basically a life-changing role because they were booked to be in Wyatt Earp.
I presume that wasn't.
It wasn't Kevin Costner.
Right.
No, it was somebody else, and it wasn't that meth head, Tom Sizemore.
Yeah, Sizemore got more than his share of bites at the apple.
Well, he got at least 3 bites at the
Yeah.
apple and just couldn't put down the crack pipe. So
Matter of fact, I think all things considered, he had a fine career.
I guess, man, I remember him from three things. So he was that Saving Private Ryan,
Mhm.
and the Relic.
He's in that. He's in Point Break.
Oh yeah, he's in Point Break.
Not a big part. I think he was supposed to maybe have a bigger part, but he's good in that.
No, it wasn't Tom Sizemore. It was somebody else. I can't remember. Um, oh well.
Like, is it somebody that you'd recognize?
It was somebody whose career you would recognize as on the up and up until they took a role in that and turned down this other role. And I can't remember what the other role was. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, that makes sense. So I can't remember what it was, though. I'd have to Google it, man.
Somebody
So,
who should have been big around that time.
Yeah. It wasn't Casper Van Diem. It was. But someone kind of along those lines?
Was it the dude from The Rocketeer?
No, he had already flamed out before then.
All right.
Yeah.
Because I remember he was supposed to be big and nothing happened.
No, nothing happened. Although that movie's great.
There's nothing wrong with that movie.
I love that movie.
It's
yeah. It's like Indiana Jones, but with a rocket. It's got Nazis in it.
It does.
Yeah, and gangsters. So with Paul Sorvino in it.
It does.
Yeah.
It's. See, the anomaly in that era, as far as I'm concerned, is Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy is
yeah.
It's a very simple movie, but it is like it's visually fascinating. But there's next to nothing story wise there.
Yeah,
It's
I don't remember that one. I do remember Hudson Hawk. So
yeah, that's a way different movie.
It is. I know it's a way different movie, but it's got that aesthetic to it.
Mm.
So
the only difference is Dick Tracy was fucking huge. That was
yeah, no, I know.
It was an enormous. Hudson Hawk just like went under the radar. I think
yeah, I know, but it was
which is strange.
Well, it was Bruce Willis played him. Yeah, so
Kind of surprising. I mean, there were a couple other weird movies in that vein that came out that tried to do something, didn't quite land. Dark Man was one of them. Um, has the third movie has my favorite subtitle in history.
I don't remember any of those.
It's called Die Dark Man Die, which is
The Darkman,
just
duh.
it's fantastic. Um, really gone off the rails by that point, but I think it's great.
I
Um,
never saw any of those.
uh, it,
I remember The Mask was out right around then too.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
The
That's
movie's dumb.
it's fine. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's I don't know, man.
you were there for it or you
I was
weren't,
there for it.
right? I
Yeah, I was
mean,
there for it.
you either completely liked that shtick or you did not, and
I'm sorry, the Looney Tunes shtick had
there
died in the
was
'70s, man. I think we're good.
well, I mean, here's the thing is either that is exactly for you or you hate every minute of it.
Right? Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I put me mark me down in the latter camp.
that's where I was. I don't know. I'm not going to fault anybody for liking it or thinking this was a.
Well, they made two of them, didn't they?
Yeah, but nobody talks about the second one
Nobody
for a
talks about it.
reason.
It's like
Yeah,
second short
yeah,
circuit. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
No, I mean they tried to make it a thing. They did that. They had a Saturday morning cartoon for a little bit, and
Yeah, they did. I
mm,
do remember that.
mm,
Back when Saturday morning cartoons were still a thing.
different era.
They were about to die at that point in time. They
Well,
were getting close,
I'm
man.
gonna say that they were on life support.
They were definitely on life supports. But see, the thing is, you can't fully blame that on the internet. That
Mm.
was cable's doing. So, specifically Nickelodeon. Because this is when they started coming out with some really good cartoons. And they were all over the map. They weren't just on Saturdays.
Well, it was a combination between them and the Cartoon Network actually,
Oh, yeah. And the Cartoon Network. Yeah.
because at that point, one of the things that the Cartoon Network's done is they'd finally pivoted and decided to start making their own shows, their own content.
Uh-huh.
Um, and that was kind of the death knell at that point, where like it's not over, but you're on borrowed time.
What was their first run?
The first one
It
was
wasn't Courage, was it?
uh-uh.
Okay.
So well,
That was pretty early.
it was pretty early. So they did something called the What a Cartoon Show,
Oh, I
right?
remember that. Yeah.
And they actually had a runoff of five different shorts to see what would get the first gig. And the winner of the first What a Cartoon Show, wonder if you can guess.
I
It
don't
did
know.
last a long time.
Ed, and Eddie.
Not a bad call because it does come from that same
Rugrats.
Rugrats was Nickelodeon.
Oh, okay.
It was the Powerpuff Girls. That was their
Oh, yeah,
first.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was made by that Sakharov guy or whatever. Tarkov. What's his name?
Gennady Tarkovsky?
There we go.
That
Yeah.
wasn't him.
Oh, I thought it was.
Mm.
I thought that's where he came from.
No, he comes from that's actually the other shows that were in that first lineup. Dexter's Lab.
Oh, okay. Did he do that one?
He was on that one.
Okay, there we
Yep.
go.
Yep.
I'd forgotten about Dexter.
And
Indeed.
the other ones in that series were Johnny Bravo.
I don't
Um,
remember that.
there was Sheep in the Big City.
I don't remember
That's fine. There's nothing to remember about that. There was one other one, and I can't quite. I don't think it was Courage. It was. Oh, this is a tough one because there were five, and
that.
believe it or not, their first appearance, right, was actually done on an episode of Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Oh,
This was where they ran the voting show.
I have no idea. I'm not going to remember that one
You're fine.
without
You're
Googling.
fine.
Yeah.
This is a weird thing because I remember watching it and like this is I got kind of called on this the other day about like remembering this kind of stuff. This is part of the reason why this feels like it happened, but that was in like 1995.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
long time ago,
I know.
Jeff. Yeah,
I know.
this
Maybe
is
even
close to
earlier.
30 years.
I
Yeah,
know. But it still feels
that
recent to
wasn't
me.
last week.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, yeah, no.
Well, TBS was trying to do their own thing too with cable cartoons, right?
Who, PBS?
No, TBS.
I don't remember
Well, they had a couple of shows on there. They were trying to make Captain Planet happen, which I don't think anybody enjoyed. Uh, they did have a show that I really enjoyed called Two Stupid Dogs.
that. I remember that.
Mhm.
What was the one with the dog and the cat stuck together? Cat, dog, butt, or whatever it was?
Minus the butt, yeah, it was just called Cat Dog,
Cat
and that
dog,
was on
okay. That
Nickelodeon.
was Nickelodeon.
Um,
Yeah.
and they also tried for another Hanna-Barbera action show called SWAT Cats, where um, these two junkyard cats flew sort of like a makeshift F-14, um,
Oh, they had like lightning, like zaps from teeth. I remember that.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It was that real like 1990s, fucking
very much.
little tiny triangles on a blue background kind of thing.
Very. I think they did 2 seasons of that because yeah, TBS was trying to do that, and then they rolled that into the Cartoon Network
Yeah, because they
because
were
they're
all
like, yeah,
Turner properties.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Just a completely pointless history lesson, but yeah, walking back on that at
Nobody
the end of.
cares. Yeah, not like literally. I don't think anybody's going to write a book on that.
You know, there is something to be said. I mean, if you're talking about the institution of the Saturday morning cartoon, what it meant, where it started, and where it ended. I mean, I think there's some valuable perspective in that, but realistically,
I don't know. I don't know how long they were around before we started watching them.
decades,
You think so?
I guarantee it.
I don't know about that because I know like some of them, maybe like a decade. You know?
I know for sure at least the '70s were.
Yeah, because you had Scooby Doo. And you had a couple of the other older ones. But like, the original Flintstones was an evening show.
It was,
Yeah, it wasn't a cartoon.
but things like Underdog and stuff weren't.
Underdog
Like
was
this
not.
is
Yeah, Underdog was during the day.
Rocky and Bullwinkle. Like these were all like
Yeah, but they would have produced those so that you'd have a new one every week.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But it was still on the weekends though,
Oh, okay, yeah.
I
So
believe.
I don't know,
Rocky and
man.
Bullwinkle was not a primetime show.
No, it wasn't a primetime show, but I think it was part of a package. So it wasn't fully an ad because I mean, if you go back and you watch those, they don't fit in a TV slot. They're like 6 minutes long. So
Oh well, yeah, because it was part of because the other components were what Dudley Do Right and
I have no idea. I mean, but like, there's way more Rocky and Bullwinkles than there are Dudley Do Rights.
oh no,
So
but that's the thing is they would it would be a show like 30 minutes, but it'd be segments. So
yeah, I
within
don't
their
know, man. I'd have to go look that up because I don't know how far back. I know my dad wasn't watching cartoons on Saturday mornings. So in the 50s, no way.
no, because that's when they were having like that was the thing. Like in the '50s, they were still doing like Captain Kangaroo, Howdy Doody, and fucking like Nanook of the North.
Sure.
Like I don't think
I
they.
only know what one of those are.
I'm gonna tell you something. They all sucked.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They
Yeah.
all sucked out loud.
Captain Kangaroo was still on when I was a kid. So,
A version of it, right? Because
well, he
there's
had that weird haircut that he was probably 80.
was
So,
it the same guy,
yeah, it was the same guy all the way through. Yeah.
Mr. Green Jeans and all that too?
I don't know, man.
Uh,
Yeah. So, I don't think the color on my TV was that good.
Word. Okay. I know that
He
they
did wear a plaid jacket, though. So,
and like in the '70s, I know that they had at least coming out of the '60s, right? Well, because Scooby Doo was absolutely '60s. That was part of it.
yeah,
Um,
towards the end, yeah.
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 And I guarantee, yeah, and the original run of the Jetsons and stuff, that's from like the late '60s, early '70s.
Probably. Yeah.
And I don't think that was prime time.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. So,
And they did multiple series of like Casper and stuff like that from back then.
well,
Um,
Casper was also film, so you could find that in movie theaters way back in the day. So
What they had a
Casper
half
the
hour
Friendly
show.
Ghost is way old.
Yeah, they
So
had
yeah.
a half hour
Oh
show.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure. Well, they did a lot of that with like even the Looney Tunes, stitching them together.
yeah. You're right
Yeah.
because they went from theatrical to
Hmm.
television.
Hmm.
Yeah, and in the '80s, I think this is when they started producing new ones. Was
I couldn't
like they
tell
took
you.
a break, right?
In the 80s?
Well, they took a break. Like they were doing them for a while, then they took a little break, and then came back and started doing more during I think the new Looney Tunes show.
I don't remember that. I remember like the first time I saw original Warner Bros. Shit was probably like Tiny Toons. So
Yeah, you're right.
so and they did a couple other things because they were doing the Batman cartoons too, weren't they?
Uh,
Wasn't that a Warner Brother property?
well, it was weird because it was Warner Brothers doing it for Fox Kids.
Oh, okay.
It's a very weird thing where yeah, they were doing stuff for other networks at the time, which was strange.
Well, I don't know how it works. So
No.
yeah.
Well, just, all right. Yeah, okay, fair enough. But I know that's who they were producing that for. Um, yeah, I'd have to look into that. I know that there's definitely a start of it with because that's when the cavalcade of fucking Hanna Barbera shit
Those are from the
just
70s.
just barfs out onto the scene.
Those are from the
Yeah,
70s. Yeah. So
I can't tell you what I can't tell you. I cannot tell you the original air date of Yogi Bear. I can't tell you if
no idea.
that's
Don't know. Yeah. I
yeah.
guess like 65
That would be my
at the
guess.
earliest.
Yeah,
Yeah. So no idea. I know that like the original ones are actually in black and white. So
fuck it, I did not know
the
that.
first couple, yeah,
Wow,
they are. Where his voice is different.
is it really?
Yeah, it is. Or maybe it's the Ranger's voice is different.
Didn't he look completely different? Wasn't
He
he
was fat.
fat?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
he was chubby.
That is true. No, you're right. There's something I can't remember the exact time when it starts to turn around, but yeah, it does become a staple after a while. And I can't. I wish I could tell you exactly when.
I don't know, man. So, but I mean, so like at most, you have two generations of kids who watch them. So,
Well, that would be what Xers and
previous boomers.
well, I mean us.
Well, yeah. I don't think too many
I
millennial
also
kids
it's
watch that
weird.
many fucking cartoons, man.
Well, it
So,
depends on which. All right,
see, and
because
this is why you can't do this, man.
that
Yeah.
definition of millennial sort of is a sliding scale because evidently I'm right there at the cutoff year.
Yeah,
So I guess I get to take my pick, but I don't. I would argue that to be an Xer, you have to be influenced by the '70s in some way.
I guess, man, but I don't know.
Does
Um,
the 2 extra years that you spent in it, do you feel that that was formative to your
I
outlook
knew
on
what was
life?
going on when the Challenger exploded. So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Me too.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I guess to me it feels like I tend to think of your generation part of basically where you spent like your junior high to high school years because those are your like informing your adult
It's
sensibilities. But
it's a slider. It's however you want to slide it, man. I mean, like whatever. So, I mean, if
yeah,
you just think about it, you have three generations who experienced 9/11, who all kind of followed that
oh,
same thing.
that's a
But
good point.
if like, so most of them, they say the generations run for 20 years. Someone who was 18 versus 14 versus 12, okay,
Yeah,
or 10 experiencing 9/11 have three very different
I
experiences.
agree. Yeah, yeah.
And so this is why the generation stuff is kind of garbage. So, I mean, like every generation has its own unique experiences. There's nothing about yours that make it particularly special, you know. Um, because
Different, but yeah, but
they're
not
all just
special. Yeah.
exactly they're all discrete events. So they're just all separate from each other, you know.
Well, it also goes under the assumption that people all experience these things in the same way. There's
Correct.
this reductivism where you and I both know this. Your dad can testify to this. Well, so could mine. But the thing where um, people love to paint the entire like 60s and early 70s as being like bombarded by hippies, but like that was actually a very small group.
Yeah, no, my
And
dad didn't see no hippies.
a
So
lot of people straight up fucking didn't like them.
yeah, I mean, my dad would see Hare Krishnas or whatever they were at the airport, but
Yeah.
yeah, whatever. Well, and I mean, all of those events are like that. Oh, it's the Vietnam generation. Well, only about 3% of the country actually went there. Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
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 So, and then the same thing's true with World War II. You're talking very specifically about people who were between the ages of 18 and 22, who that made that very different for them.
Now there were older servicemen in there
Sure.
too, but
Yeah, but not as common. I mean, they're
right.
not your draftees.
No,
So,
no, 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 no.
you know. And even on top of that, we never sent like no 50% of the country overseas.
Right.
So come
Right.
on,
Which is
man.
probably a different story if you lived in Europe.
Yeah, very different story if you lived in Europe. Didn't care. Didn't matter if you were born in 1870 or 1922. It sucked for you.
Yeah, that's true. It's like you guys don't understand. We're intervening in your war.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. It just sucked.
It did suck. We had, of course, you have the Pearl Harbor thing, but that's as close as it got to, the states. Except for evidently there was, there was one moment where people spotted the planet Venus and thought it was a weather balloon and shot at it.
The Japanese actually did drop a couple bombs in the northwest corridor up in like Portland area.
Did they hit?
No, they launched them from balloons from submarines, and they eventually deflated and they recovered the bombs. So wait a minute, these aren't ours.
You want to send it back to them?
Did you want to send it back? Well, and they did take two islands in Alaska, so which was not technically America at the time. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
you're right.
Well, they also took Guam. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. And that was ours, correct?
Yeah, yeah, it was a territory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Full of Japanese.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Just one of many places renamed America Island.
Right, yeah. America Junior Junior.
Which-
Yeah.
we didn't stop at that. We didn't stop at that big island near Korea,
No.
because that would have been a great thing to rename.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome to New Nebraska.
California. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Welcome to West Vermont. Why? Why would you do this?
Why
to
would
us?
you do that?
Why would you do? You know we have trouble pronouncing these particular letters.
Yeah, exactly. We'd shorten them out. We'd just use apostrophes instead.
Make it look like Klingon.
Yeah.
I like that. No, you're right. It's to me, like, again, this is like you talked about that 12, 14, 18 experience. Yeah, it's so different. Um, and that's wild. And people put so much faith in that cohort. Um,
It's stupid it's the stupidest form of tribalism out there. I'd rather people go back to like race hate. You
this is
know?
honest.
Yeah, exactly. And sit there and fucking punch down on all the other generations. So, yeah, exactly. At least you'd be a little bit more upfront about what you're doing. You know.
Well, the fucking the nonsense here where there's this talk and look, nobody's right in this. I think there's a lot of concern right now economically. One of the famous things right now is being pointed out, like, here's how much a boomer bought his house for in 1980, and this is how much it's worth.
Yeah.
And they have, I mean, the numbers on this, I can't get to the bottom of this. I think this is just a transfer of wealth thing, but that would be my best guess. But when they're saying like um, the average age of the new home buyer is now it's high. It's like 45 or something, like first time home buyer.
Well, that's because you got a lot of people who are old. So who are raising that up. Was the average age of the first time home?
First time home buyer, yeah.
Yeah, I find that a little suspicious. So,
I mean, I don't. It makes sense.
does it?
It does, but
I have
again,
plenty of students who go out and buy houses.
but
So,
that's. I mean, I get the anecdotal part, but I mean,
yeah,
you're talking about specifically, like, first and foremost, you're talking about students, right?
yeah, sure, they're educated,
Right.
so they get better
So
jobs.
we have that component. Um, but I mean, there's a piece of this here where you could look at this and say, like, is this attached to, do most people only buy houses when they get married? Okay, well, there are less people getting married right now, thus, family type things. It's to point it at
Yeah,
one thing.
you know what's funny? I did see a statistic on that the other day. It said fewer people are getting married. You know who's getting married at the exact same rate?
I don't know.
College educated women. Dead rock steady across the board.
Wait a minute, I don't understand.
College educated women get married today at the same rate and at the same average age as they did almost 30 years ago. It is poor women who do not get married anymore.
Why?
I don't know.
All right, all
So
right.
I have no idea. But the whole like, oh, well, they get educated so they don't get married anymore, that's just not true. So,
I suppose the other thing I would look at is, are they producing children at the same rate?
yes,
That group
that
produces.
group is actually a little higher so in fertility than it was in 1985.
But I thought the poor were the ones that produce the most children.
Apparently not anymore. So yay contraception. So
All right, all right.
I have no idea, man. That was just another chart foul that I saw got called out on Twitter the other day.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
Wow,
one's
was it crap?
well, yeah, it's pretty easy to check. So I mean, census data is not exactly like fucking nuclear code secret, So you can go pull it up really quickly. So
But yeah, with the housing thing, there was this. There's this undercurrent where some people is like, oh, well, you guys don't know how to spend money or save money or all this other shit.
some of that is true.
I'm sure some of that is true. I'm sure some of that is cost. I'm sure some of that is, work. I don't think it's all one factor. And I sure
No,
as shit don't think it's because, oh, this generation is so fucking badass with their money, that they made all the right financial moves.
who the boomers?
Yeah. And,
No.
and you guys are just so stupid.
My parents bought their house. I think my parents' house, it was probably about the same size as what your parents paid for theirs.
Yeah.
So I think my parents paid $75,000 for that house. It's probably worth about 450 to 500 now.
Yeah.
Okay. They did it in 1979 where interest rates were 22%. There's a reason why my parents never were able to buy that house. It's because they'd have to wait 4 or 5 years and then interest rates would fall and they could finally get some fucking breathing room in their budget. So, no, if you look at housing as a percentage of income, so it's pretty steady across the board. It's always been right around 30% for the middle class. So,
Now,
it
how
just
many
is what
people?
it is.
Yeah.
Man.
Now, how many people are in the middle class, and how long that lasts, and which jobs stay there? That changes constantly. I think.
It depends on how you cut the cheese, man, on that one. I
Yeah.
mean, to the the safest definition of middle class is the middle three quintiles of income
All right.
because it's always going to have the same number of people in it. Okay, the top 2% always make. Well, they don't make. See, this is the other thing that I see a lot of people fuck up on Twitter. They make
Conflate net worth with what they make?
conflate wealth with income. And so when they talk about income inequality, it's like, you fucking morons, okay? When you talk about the top 2%, you're talking about like me, okay, now at this point in time, because the people who make Jeff Bezos money, they don't make money that's reported as income, So, he probably has an Amazon salary that's like $1 a year,
It's that.
Yeah,
I don't even know if he's drawing an Amazon salary.
I don't. He might
quote
be,
unquote.
but even then, I mean, like if you get over, well, I guess I'm talking about household income.
Right.
If you get a household income over $200,000, you're probably in the top like 7 to 8%.
Yeah.
So yeah, no problem. All right. So and that's household income, because I believe median household income is somewhere around 75 or 80, something like that. And the problem with the individual income, this is the one you see people fuck this up all the time too, is that if you go off median income for all Americans, it's really low. It's like 50, 46, 48,000 a year.
Hmm.
Okay. But you know who that includes?
Me.
And every last goddamn retiree in the fucking country.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like I do my mom's taxes. You know how much
Well, okay. Retiree that's drawing benefits.
that would be most of them. That would be
Okay.
all the poor ones for sure.
Well, no, I just like there are
Yeah.
retirees that are retired and are flush. They're
Yeah. They don't show up in those statistics.
right, right,
Yeah. Because they don't draw an income.
right.
So, or if they do draw an income, they draw an income with their Social Security minimum RMDs, that they have to take out every single year, and they show an income of like $12,000 a year.
Or the things that they have to report as income in terms of investment stuff, things that they're coming.
That doesn't
Yeah.
show up as income. That's capital gains. It's completely
Right.
different. Yeah, it won't show up in that. That's how Jeff Bezos makes all his money is off capital gains.
There you go.
So he doesn't show up as income. So, when they talk about like, oh my God, tax the rich, it's like you got to tax assets, man. So it's not income. Income's not the fucking problem.
No, you're right. Because yeah, there's when it comes down to people actually drawing a salary,
Mhm.
right? That's sort of that's definitely a misnomer, right?
Sure.
In terms of like if you go down and say like, well, who's making like the most in salary? Then it's like, well, Shaquille O'Neal, right? The people
Sure.
that are actually like in terms of getting paid for service, you're looking at
Yeah.
athletes,
Yeah, you're
right?
looking
Not
at athletes, you're looking at movie stars, you're looking at I mean, yeah, there's a lot of corporate executives out there who probably pull down a million or two a year. Shit, you can probably find some that pull down like 10 or $15 million a year. There's only so many Fortune 500 companies, though, Jeff.
right,
In fact, I believe there's 500 of them. So,
like
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, that's kind of how the
Okay,
list
right,
works.
right,
Yeah,
okay, all
yeah.
right.
So, I mean, you could find that, but I mean, that's not how rich people make their money. So, you know, and so they keep saying the same thing about asset class. Well, the rich own all the assets and blah, blah, blah. It's like actually, what the vast majority of wealth in the United States is actually concentrated in the middle class and it's tied up in housing. So,
Right,
and so you see people all
right.
the time, all the wealth. Well, you're talking about all the stocks. And that's what rich people buy. I get it.
And that is a point. I mean, that's an
Yeah,
absolute point.
that's what they buy. So there you go. Okay, fine. I mean, you can have a 401k too, buddy. So,
Well, there's an argument that employees should control more of the company stock.
it depends on the company, but sure, some of them do that.
Some
So,
do, not
yeah.
many.
No, I mean, well, it depends. Some of them are a little bit better about that than others. Some of them are bullshit where, you have employee ESOP programs
Yeah,
where
yeah,
the employees actually have no controlling stake. It's a different classification of shares.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's the thing about it is when you're doing up the paperwork, you can make it however the fuck you want,
Right.
so there's not a standard one,
Yeah.
which is why Mark Zuckerberg will never get kicked out of Facebook because he wrote it so that he gets all the founder shares and the founder shares decide who the CEO is.
Right.
And he did that because he could, because people really wanted to give him their money.
Because they thought they could take their money and turn that into more money by investing it in
They
him.
fucking
And they
did.
did.
And I so wish I had bought some. I remember when that IPO happened. So
I did not. I certainly didn't have anything at that time to put into there.
I didn't have that much, but I
Mm.
did think about it. So I don't care about his politics, man. I would have made money off that.
I don't care about anybody's politics when it comes to
No.
no, because that implies that there's some kind of straight line or some kind of ethos on here that drives that. I'm like that has nothing to do with money making. It's
Mm-mm.
again, you pointed this out a long time ago. It's like that's why I won't go into business with you, and you're right because no, it's because if you like imagine having somebody on your business side where you're saying like, look, we have data that says like people are buying fried chicken here, right?
Right.
This is our crowd. I say but this 29-year-old mom and pop business that sells chicken is right there in that area, and you would be like, then we have to put them out of business.
Well, then they better bring their A game
That's
because we're
correct.
showing up with the bat. Yeah.
Right. And I'd be sitting there making objections about, but Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, they've been pillars of the community. They used to sponsor like Rudy Elementary fried chicken night, and that's bad for the community.
Well, they've been in the community for 30 years.
Right.
Then why aren't they putting me out of business?
That's a good question. And there's the guy that I want in charge of my business
Right.
is the guy that says like, all right, tell you what, here's what we're going to do. All right, we're going to send him a gift. It's like with that, it's like we're going to send them 2 shovels to dig their own graves.
Yes. Some coffee filters with no coffee.
That's the guy I want running my business. And I want to be able to turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah. See, this is why I'll never engage in small business. So just
I don't have the heart for that.
I don't either, man. I don't have the killer instinct for it, and I certainly don't have the patience. So
I would have the heart to like sell like tchotchke bullshit on Etsy, but I wouldn't really call that like a
yeah,
local
I don't
business.
know if I'd call that a business. Yeah.
Well, I
So
mean, you'd have to incorporate it. I got it, but as far as going to war with, the taco shop over here or something like that, I'm not doing
no, I'm
that.
not
It's
doing
just,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah, I don't need to do that.
hmm
Mm-mm.
no, I understand. It's a weird thing, and there are some people that are really geared to that, and
There are
God bless them.
they're fewer than you think. So I mean, I've had a lot of students over the years, and I'd say out of 100, I get maybe like 5 or 6 out of every 100 that kind of have that I don't know that I can do it myself kind of attitude. You
I
know,
will do it
I will
myself.
do it myself.
Yeah,
Yeah, all by
it's
myself.
not just can.
Yeah. So
These are the kind of people that are willing to look at the consequences of the 7th week of 18-hour days and no weekends and say I am still doing the right thing,
yeah.
versus you or I.
Oh no, in my very soft bougie hands. That
They're very soft, and our face would be buried in it, and we'd be like, "What am I doing with my life?"
I was playing a Schedule One game, and that game's not a. It's not really a game where you sling drugs as much as it is you build a business. And I found my weakness with this
What's this?
because I'm a sucker in every negotiation.
Oh,
People come to me and be like, "Hey, can I get 5 of those for $100?" I'm like, "Sure." Hey, can I get like 5 of those for $400? Yeah. So hey, can I get 5 of those for like 250? It was like, yeah, okay. So
well, because you look at your own wallet and say, "Well, I have enough."
well, that's what I do.
Right.
I keep looking at my bottom line. I'll say I'm flush with money,
Right.
and it's never like, oh, wait a minute, I got this money by being ruthless.
I'm going to tell
Maybe
you.
I shouldn't stop doing that.
I think the place where you and I would be the absolute worst would be sitting next to each other, operating a flea market vendor table.
Oh
Because,
yeah,
yeah, when some big Haitian dude came over and looked at my thing and says, like, how much? I say $5. He says one. I say, go ahead. Right.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And then versus like, did I stutter? I said five.
yeah,
Right. And you're supposed to weasel them down to like 350.
yeah. You are,
But
and he
I'm
kind of
gonna
expects that too. So
and I'm gonna let him have it for one.
yeah,
Why? Because I don't want to fucking bother with it.
yeah. Well, that's why you just post the price and say,
All sales final.
all sales
The
final,
number is the
posted
number.
price. Yeah,
Walk on.
posted price only.
Unless some dude comes up and says like, "We'll tell you what. All right, I will take this, 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 and this if you cut me a break." I'm like, now we're talking.
Okay,
Volume discounts, sure, no
maybe.
problem.
Depends on what he wants.
But if he's going to take away 5 pieces of my crap, I'll cut him a little discount. Because it's not like you and I are going to be selling fucking like
Yeah, that's true.
fantastic stuff here. Remember, we're peddling junk.
Yeah, I need to de-junk my house a little bit.
That's what I'm talking about. So, like, if you went there and you're like, what am I going to do with all these kids' baby clothes?
Yeah,
Right? I ain't got no more on the way.
no,
So
no,
let's.
we're done. I think I'm cleaned out on those.
You gave that away?
I think the only thing that I still have is I have my daughter's crib. So because nobody will take it from you afterwards.
Oh,
So
really?
that and
Yeah.
car seats, they will not do it.
Why?
I don't know. There's some kind of liability thing about it. Serious, dead serious. They, like you can't even take a car seat over to like fucking Goodwill. So
Really?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So they won't
okay.
take them. So it's like, oh, okay.
All right. Have you kicked it in half and put it out there at the
Oh,
end of the
it got
car?
hooked in
All right.
the
All
trash. So that
right.
actually fits in my rollaway bin.
Okay.
So
All
yeah,
right. All right.
yeah,
All right.
that's fine.
That's weird because that is the kind of thing that seems like it would be extremely helpful for new parents. Like
You would think
these things are fucking
so,
expensive.
yeah. And I guess like you can go to like some of the reusable stores, and I guess there's like some like maybe like things that stores give away or something. It's something that's not been previously owned kind of winds up in there. But if you've used it and if it's got child vomit on it,
I got okay. I don't want that, but I mean, dude, we're living in a world where
yeah, what's that weird noise? It might be Ukrainian drones.
what the fuck? What
It's a street sweeper. Yeah.
what slow ass moving plane is is about to hit my home? Um, okay, yeah. Now, if you want to talk about Ukrainian drones, Jesus Christ.
I don't know that much about them.
Well,
I've been watching my military blogger guys, and the smart ones are like, we need to investigate this a little bit. So I'm like, okay, go do that. I'll wait your vid. I'll await your video.
well, the whole trick was these were the ones you were talking about. They were all fiber optic.
Were
Um,
they?
yep,
So I've heard that. I've also heard that they use Russian cell towers.
that'd be
So
interesting. But
yeah. So
the
I'm not surprised that they're fiber optic though. I mean, I've seen those pictures on Telegram where there's like fucking spider webs across fields of that shit in Ukraine. So yeah,
that shit's very cheap. Actually,
it's really cheap.
I am finally actually making the switch off of Comcast.
Oh, nice.
You know why?
Why?
Because it came to my door.
You got the fiber here?
They do.
Oh, nice.
I was I was sitting here at this table, right? And and I was sitting there like doing my lessons, so I'm kind of concentrating because you get to that last part where you're trying to commit some words to memory. You just close your eyes and you kind of cross over the definitions and all that stuff, so it doesn't go to waste. Because retaining fucking vocabulary is a bitch. That's my
Oh,
hard one.
In
Yeah,
Japanese.
like I have it all written down. I've
Oh,
studied it, but
yeah.
actually retaining it and being able to pull it is the hard part. But so this dude, right? It wasn't enough just to ring the doorbell, right? It sounds like he slapped the screen door a couple of times. So I'm like, the fuck, right? So the talk starts going bananas, and I go to the door, and I was literally like, I threw the door open, about to say, quit slamming my goddamn door, right? But I was like, what do you want? And so there's this dude, a very nice fellow. He's like, hey, we're finally in your neighborhood. Signed up a bunch of your neighbors. Like, sign them up to what? He's like, oh, we're with the MetroNet guys. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
tell me more.
Do it quickly.
How much you want? When can you sign me up? He's like, well, what day works for you? What's the first available? Um, that would be Monday the 9th. How early in the morning? Write it down on this piece of paper. He's like, all right, well, let me get your information. No problem. All right, and then yeah, so they are doubling the speed from 1 gig to 2 gig
Oh,
at
nice.
less than half the price. I'm like,
That's crazy.
and no charge for the fucking modem or anything. It's like I cannot. He said he's like I already signed up half your neighbors from Xfinity. It's like, well, you're getting one more. All right, go ahead. Like I have no problem with this.
I wish I could get them.
Well, you have the all rules.
There are rules around it, Jeffrey. Yeah, yeah. So, what do you have to like sign a petition and burn down our HOA or something? I don't know. They don't have like a headquarters we can go to and pick it. So,
Not that you would. I don't. I could never see you wasting a day off to pick at
Jeff,
something.
all of my days are days off right now.
I
So,
could see you
just be
wasting
like
one of
wasting
them.
a day. Yeah.
It's like,
So
so here's what's not going to happen. It's like with that, I'm not going to put my message on a sign, and I'm not going to stand out in the sun to do this.
no, I'm not going to do that.
If I can't get this solved with a phone call or a letter, I don't want it solved.
Right? Yeah, I'm not
I'll
interested.
move.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a good question. Like, so when it comes to HOA decisions like that, because yours is part of a like a conglomerate HOA, right? Like, it's
It's it no, I mean it's a separate HOA, but it's only got 20 some houses in it,
all right.
maybe 30. Um, and I don't know why they did it as an HOA other than the fact that like when my house was built, it was in the mid 80s. HOAs were popular.
In the mid '80s.
Oh yeah, very much
Oh,
so.
all
Yeah,
right.
oh, they had an HOA here.
We
So
did.
yeah, it went belly up somewhere in the mid 90s.
Oh,
So
all right.
but mine keeps persisting.
Well, you guys have like you have no sidewalk.
No, we have no city sidewalks. So but that's not terribly uncommon over in that area because they got that whole other area over there, like on the other side of Austin Bluffs there with all the like 2 acre lots and stuff. They don't have sidewalks over there either.
Are they HOA compliant as well, or
Well, no, I mean the thing is like there's a piece of it that I think they're on county land and they resisted the city.
Oh,
So I don't think
okay.
we did that because I mean they still have city utilities and stuff.
That's true. Yeah,
Well, and that's true. If Metrolink is a city utility, I don't know if it's part of
I
utilities
don't know the
though.
rule.
Well,
Yeah.
if it is, maybe they'll come by. I have no idea.
Well,
So,
well, so with things like that, if you guys decided as a group, you said like we have had it up to here with this trash company. Like, can you do it? Can you guys affect change or
yeah, we
no?
can.
Okay.
And we have done that. So we have heave hoed our trash company.
Oh, all right.
So yeah, we've only had waste management for like let's say the last 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
So
And I guess that's the question: is why can't you guys do that with internet service?
I don't know. Don't know.
You'd
I
have
guess
to
I'd
go to
have to
one of
go
them.
to one of the meetings
You
and
have to go
find
to one of
out.
those meetings. Yeah.
I don't want to go to one of those meetings.
I want Patrick. I want you to go, and I want you to go in like your nicest suit and just like say very little, like nod sometimes. I want people to be like, he's here. Like there's, you remember? So there's this. I know that you're one of the few people that'll probably appreciate this and remember this. Like, so there's this Bugs Bunny cartoon, right? And he's living near this like concert hall, this outdoor concert hall, right? And he's in his hole, right?
Okay.
And he's just trying to chill, right? But he lives next to this concert hall. And there's this blonde fatso, and he's singing opera.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you're very familiar with
Yeah.
this.
Hey,
So,
go.
okay, now there's this moment. I always remember this moment is when it comes in and he's dressed up, and all the people just start whispering, "It's Leopold! It's Leopold!
Leopold.
It's
Leopold.
Leopold!" And so I kind of want that reaction from you when you come in there, and there's
They don't even
Patrick.
know who I am,
I
dude.
think that's almost
Yeah,
scarier.
that might be scarier.
And you just sit down and you just
So,
nod sometimes. You just have this like kind of sourpuss on your face. You're not mad,
not mad.
but you're just kind of like,
I look bothered.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
inconvenienced. So
I'd like you to show up to that meeting that way. I think that'd be good.
I don't need to intimidate my HOA. So
All right, all right, all
yeah,
right.
I guess I don't really care. So um, yeah, I we did price out Comcast. So
They're so expensive.
then yeah, but my CenturyLink is worse. Well, it's the same, but it's no the
The
service is
service is
ass.
worse. Yeah.
So and then I could get see here's what I'd probably do. I'd murder off YouTube TV.
Oh,
Um,
and get traditional
and just get traditional cable, you know,
with a DVR box
with the
and
box,
yeah,
box.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And just go back old school because I did look at the Starlink, and I like the Starlink. I don't like the idea that I have to install it myself
Oh,
and drill holes in my roof. So I'd have to
oh,
get a
oh.
guy to do that. There are like installers that will do it for you. But then, like, so the Starlink would cost me about $110 a month, which is fine.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's just internet. If I want any form of TV, I'm still on YouTube TV, which is well over $100 a month now.
Oh my God,
Yeah, and
really?
so it's like, well, fuck that. I mean, that's basically what I pay now. So I'd rather like get the $120 a month that Comcast will give me and give me the TV and the internet. So and save myself $100 a month. So
I get that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, because YouTube TVs, I don't think it's 100. I think it's 85. So
That's unreal.
it is crazy, and I barely use it. I use it to watch a little bit of baseball. So now granted, I get baseball from everywhere, so it's kind of cool.
Okay, I get
So,
that, but
but it's also like that's all that I watch. I was like, well, I can settle for TBS baseball,
you
and
can.
it does come with the MLB, so
I
there's
mean,
always games on that.
yeah, you can. I mean, the other component, I guess I would ask is, I don't really consider the rest of them. Your daughter and wife big TV watchers? I don't think they are.
I don't think they've watched TV in years.
They're
So,
aware of what it is.
in concept, yeah,
They're just not interested.
no, no. Like my wife, everything she watches on Prime. So,
There you go.
okay,
All right.
so in the same thing, like every now and then she'll want to watch a movie and she'll rent it on Prime.
That's great. Yeah, let it be too.
It's like great,
Yeah,
yeah, it's like $3,
yeah,
so go for it.
yeah. You know
You
why?
know,
Because I don't know physical media anymore.
I don't need to either, Jeff. Yeah, so so yeah, and I mean, it was like, okay, I'm the only one who watches TV.
Right.
And I only watch two things on the TV. I watch baseball and I watch the news. So, and that's just the local news. So, which I can kind of get on Twitter, to tell you the truth.
Well, you can, or the other thing is if you want to watch the news, yeah, so just watch it off their site.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of any other sites.
I understand that,
I mean, at least on Twitter, they break up the clips. So,
which is what you want, right?
which is
It's
just what
just,
I want. It's like,
yeah.
I just want this one story.
It's like,
So,
guys, what I really want here is the news experience that includes the gaps, that includes the local advertising. I want all of it.
I do kind of like the local advertising. So, um, but it's not critical. So,
Yeah, those are. I'm sorry, man. You're surrounded by bad choices.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I apologize.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. No, my neighbor does have the Starlink. It's pretty cool. It works pretty good. I talked to him about it for a bit. But then yeah, he was like, "Oh yeah, if you want TV, you got to get TV on top." I was like, "Fuck." That's what I was trying to avoid.
I don't know, man. I don't. I mean, no point in my life has TV actually proven itself to be more worthless. I mean, it's not.
It's awful.
Um, I don't want to come at this from like a snobby standpoint, or sit there and say it was better in my time because it wasn't. I mean, there's an aspect of it that was in terms of the consolidation of talent because there just wasn't that much to go around.
Yeah.
So the people that did it were very good, and you got to watch their one show 13 times a year,
Yeah.
right? And then 13 times next year, right? So it's not as though this is particularly great stuff, and there's so much of it, so that there's not exactly any kind of like must see, like, oh my god, this is a cultural experience. I must watch MASH,
There's almost
right?
none of that.
Fuck all that.
No, I think the latest thing was the Minecraft movie.
And it wasn't for us. That
And it
was
wasn't for us, yeah. So, but like I know a lot of people have seen it. And that's the first time I can say that about a movie in a long time.
I'll tell you this. I will promise you this. If I was the right age, I guarantee you I would have been in that crowd making a fucking ruckus, right? And just enjoying
Yeah,
the
yeah,
shit out
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
I can promise you that. I mean, I did go to, I mean, for God's sakes, yeah, I've gone to like Rocky, or I went to the midnight showings of fucking heavy metal and Faces of Death. You know, I did those little,
Faces of
cultural,
Death.
yes,
I don't think I did that one. I think I did heavy metal though. Re-release?
yep,
Wasn't it like 2000?
something like that.
Something
Yeah, and
like
maybe a
that.
little bit earlier actually.
Yeah.
Like I think it was, no, I think it was like '98 thereabouts
I
because
think
it was.
I remember doing that because it wasn't at the Dollar Theater.
It was at.
Was it was it Kimball's?
It wasn't at Kimball's. It was at a theater that's not here anymore.
Yeah.
Um, it wasn't at the Hancock one. Actually,
It
well,
might have been. That actually that might have been that one.
It might have been that one.
The one where the Walmart is now.
Yeah, it
I
was
think
either
that's
at that
right.
one or it was at the old MCI Center.
That was Kimball's.
No, Kimball's is downtown.
I thought that was Peak.
No, Kimball's Twin Peaks is downtown. It's next to the
Oh, maybe I got those backwards
yeah.
then. Yeah.
The MCI Center one was on Woodman. That's the
You know what movie? I saw a couple movies there. The one that I remember is I saw what was the one with Richard Gere that ruined his career?
Richard Gere.
Yeah, Gear. Sorry.
Oh,
Um, the one about China.
oh,
Was it Red Square? Something like that.
it's something like that. It's
Something like that. Yeah. I saw that there with Mike and his wife. And it was bad.
was it bad?
It wasn't good.
Mm.
So, and that was a tiny theater. It only had like 3 screens in it.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
they were decent screens.
they were. And it was one of the few places, or first early places that actually had real, it wasn't quite stadium seating, but it was
Yeah.
pretty steep.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
And they would occasionally they would pull off of the non-mainstream stuff from time to time. They're also not in business anymore.
Yeah.
So there you go. But we've very much consolidated our theater going experiences in this town where you got the big one over there, you got the big one down there, and then you got the big one up north. And
I've never been to the big one up north.
it's fine.
I'm sure.
It's
Yeah.
fun. It's
They're all basically the same now.
that's pretty
I
much.
remember going to Chapel Hills quite a few times. So,
Oh yeah.
I think Kevin and I saw Titanic there.
Did you?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
think we did. So
I can
it was like a 9-to-1 guy to girl, a girl to guy ratio. It was great.
I can imagine, being with that company. It's just kind of, wasn't it cool when he bounced off the propeller?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ship broke in half. It's like you got hit by a torpedo. Dumbasses.
Oh man, that the Chapel Hills was how I managed to see the first screening of the Phantom Menace.
Oh, okay.
Opening night.
I saw all of those over here.
Well,
So, yeah, this was open before by then, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, it's a fucking like midnight showing.
No, we waited a couple weeks, so maybe a week or so. Didn't see it right away.
And I think the last thing I saw at Academy Station 6 was uh I think it was the re-release of The Empire Strikes Back, to tell you the
No,
truth. Yeah.
I think I watched that there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one with all the orange backgrounds.
Uh-huh. It
Yeah.
was either that or it was or Volcano.
Oh, I know. I saw Volcano. I don't think it was there though. So,
I saw
um,
Independence Day there.
I saw Independence Day. I saw Jurassic Park there. I saw Independence Day there. I saw. Um, there was there was quite a few of those large '90s movies. I saw Batman there. So
Wow, really?
yeah,
89?
I don't I think
Crazy.
it was the '89 one. I think the neighbors took us to that one, and then we saw, or it might have been the second one because I know I saw that
Something in
one.
92 thereabouts.
I know I saw
Yeah?
that one in the
Okay.
theater. Yeah. No, I think I saw the first one in the theater.
You didn't see Die Hard in the theater, did
I
you?
did. Yep.
Where?
Not the first one.
Oh.
I saw the airport one.
Oh, so the second one.
Yeah, I never
Oh.
saw the first one in the theater. So I saw, but I definitely saw the third one. Kevin and I went to that one. So
So it was a weird thing about Die Hard was I guess there were a lot of people that like it was a surprise big time hit, but like I'd never heard about it until uh somebody rented it. It was on video, so I didn't even know it was out. And they said like you've got to watch this movie.
yeah, I don't think I saw that in the theater, but I know I saw it shortly thereafter. I remember renting it.
Mm.
So, um, 'cause when was that one? That one was 89, 88?
That
No.
was I think that was 89 too. Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
did not see the other one. We did see the second one in the theater. So the airport one.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike and I went to go see that. And then Kevin and I went to go see the third
I
one.
think I saw the third one. I think
You,
I went with
you
you.
might have gone with
I
us.
went to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, I went with you.
yeah.
Um, I don't. I've seen the fourth one. I don't remember a fucking thing about it.
The one with the jet.
I think
Yeah,
that's it.
he's trying to copy off. Oh, True Lies. I saw True Lies at Academy Station 6.
Oh. Oh.
I
Okay.
come to think of it,
Oh.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Kevin and I love that fucking movie.
I saw. So there was a. If you remember, there was a detached theater from the Citadel Mall.
Yeah, there was.
Um,
Across the street.
yep. It was part of that mall, but it was
Yeah.
apart from it. Saw Men in Black there.
My dad and I saw Dances with Wolves there.
Talk about fucking. If they don't know
That
what
was the other
Saturday morning cartoons were, they don't
that,
know what
that
that
was the
shit.
other movie that my dad took me to go see because he really wanted to see it. So
Did he like it?
he loved it. He
Okay.
thought it was great.
Didn't he
So,
fucking like Gettysburg with you or something? Or
yeah, he did. So
yeah.
okay, so there's three movies he took me to because I know he and I went to go see Dances with Wolves.
What was the
Um,
boring ass follow up to Gettysburg?
of Gods and Generals. It's the most. It is the most heinous piece of Southern fucking, apologism out there, man. It's it is terrible. So
I don't remember much about it. I
it's
don't. I
it
don't
is
remember if I saw the whole
long.
thing.
Oh my god,
I seem to
it's like
recall it.
fucking 9 hours.
Yeah, I seem to recall it being up its own ass though.
Oh, it totally was. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Well, both of them are Ted Turner things, and Ted Turner's he's got to be dead. He's dead, right?
I can't promise you that,
He might have been cryogenically
dude. He
frozen.
he he might
Yeah.
be like perfectly alive right now. He may be fucking yeah,
Mandalorian.
dude. His ass may be fucking like Lenin frozen in glass right now. I have no fucking clue.
Like Lennon.
Yeah.
I have no. Well, anyway, he was or is whatever, a big Civil War nut, and so the
Wow.
first movie is based off a book. Okay,
Right, right.
there's a famous Civil War book called.
The Gettysburg.
No, that'd be better, but I can't remember what it's called. But it's based off that.
Okay.
All right, and so the second one is just him just going ham, with his thing, and so like it's got like 9 fucking battles in it. Okay, and it's got like you follow all the major like generals, and just it's so bad. It is so bad. I did not see that one in the theater. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, Gettysburg is funny. It's got Jeff Daniels right at the height of his fucking fame with oh, what the fuck is that movie?
What, like the comedies?
Yeah,
Fucking like Dumb and Dumber,
he's
or
right in the
yeah,
middle of his Dumb and Dumber
yeah,
fame. Yeah,
yeah.
and he's all serious in this movie. So it's like seeing Bill Murray in a serious movie. So it's like you don't belong here.
That was the same thing with Robin Williams for a while, but he
That's true.
he did actually have some chops as an actor.
He
But
did.
at first, I'm like, this is fucking Popeye. In the weirdest goddamn movie. Is that
me Kyle.
bro? I saw that one on
That one
cable.
is fucking weird, dude.
It's fucking surreal. I remember seeing
It's
that on
so weird.
cable. I remember. You know what's weird?
We used to own that when I was a kid. We owned that movie. My brothers and
Yeah.
I spun that fucking VHS dry. So yeah,
You know what was crazy was, yeah, I think there were a lot of like parents who thought this was like good for the kids to watch.
but they never watched it with you, so they just assumed it was like a cartoon. And then you start realizing that there's parts of it that are pretty fucking dark.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It is such a weird. Like I can't even imagine at this point. Like if you, there is no fucking like office where or like writer's room or I just don't know how it gets off the ground. And
I
like
don't know
the
either.
tone is nothing. It's like, what is your take on
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
It's dark. It has weird musical numbers.
yeah.
Like not good, but they are.
They're not terrible.
But they're kind of choreo. Like
Yeah.
they're performed well. Like
Yeah.
it's just. But none of it is memorable. Like the dance scenes and stuff. I'm like, okay, I remember this.
Well, punching the octopus into space was pretty good.
See, again, but the It doesn't match the tone of the movie. It
I know.
doesn't.
Until the last thing, well, he didn't eat his spinach until the end of the movie, and then all of a sudden it becomes a fucking Popeye movie. And it's like, this is great, you know?
But yeah, I get it because you're like, well, this happens once per episode, and that's about every 6.5 minutes
Right, yeah,
where this
exactly.
happens,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
have to wait 2 hours for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is a strange piece of fiction,
I don't think
dog.
it's that long.
Is
So
it one of those 90-minute
I think it
movies?
is. Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
it
yeah.
does. Because I watched it a while. It's been a little while, but I did watch it not too terribly long ago, like within the last 5 years, I would say. And
Okay.
it was like, oh shit, I remember this. And then I'm watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, I do remember that. Oh yeah, the kid. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like that's kind of dark, man. You're
I,
abandoning the kid. So,
dude, it's weird. There were a couple of movies that a lot of families seem to have in their VHS collection for like kids, where a lot of kids had problems with these. Like that Popeye movie was a lot of people's like this is weird. I don't get it. They'd always like so many parents had a copy of
Annie.
William or Willy Wonka or Charlie and the
Charlie
Chocolate
Chocolate Factory.
which a lot of people loved,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of it's like, dude, it's
We're
creepy.
gonna go juice her. You know?
That happened.
That happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's I remember I think somebody had like a creepy version of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe with it's done in like that weird European animation style that comes across
I don't remember that.
as just inherently frightening. Some people would have that. Um,
A lot of people would have never-ending story. So,
yeah, yeah, you're right, and that's just a kids' movie. It's like we got pretty harrowing moments in this.
dude, the wolf in that is still fucking haunts my nightmares from time to time. So,
Okay, I got the wolf,
yeah.
but I mean, you're talking like the horse part. I'm like, this is fucked up,
Oh
man.
yeah,
Like, truth is, it's a good movie.
it is a good
It
movie.
is a good
Yeah.
movie. I remember a lot of kids being sort of like creeped out by ET, but a lot of parents had that.
I was creeped out by ET when I was younger. I saw it. I saw it at the theater when I was probably too young.
I
So, and then it
Yeah,
freaked me out for a little while. Then I watched it when I was probably like 10. And I was like, oh, okay. I
yeah.
get it now.
It's just
You
when
know,
you're
yeah.
young, there's
Yeah, yeah.
something like when you don't get what's going on,
Yeah.
and like when he's sick and all that other stuff. I'm like,
Wait a minute, what's going on? Why is
what's
he all
wrong?
gray? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah.
I won't say the same thing about Flight of the Navigator.
We watched the fuck out of
That
that.
was
I love that movie so much, man.
it has the weakest ass of weak endings, but it is a like
Oh, come on. It turns into that fucking, like, spike.
totally understand, but I thought that was dope as shit. As a matter of fact, the like the coolest bit of like filmmaking I'd seen it in my life was where did the stairs come from? This is fucking awesome,
Yeah, that was cool.
and I'm telling you, it is five.
Push on.
I love that. I mean, it is 5/6 of an awesome movie, but when it gets down to that last part where it's like, um, we can't do this, we have to do this. It's dangerous. Okay, all right, everything's fixed.
Everything's fixed. Yeah, it's all better.
Everything else in that
Except for
movie,
he's got a little bug in his backpack.
but everything else about that movie is genius.
Yeah, we used to watch the shit out of that.
Love that movie.
We had a couple of them like that. We had both the Fievel and um,
Okay,
well, I remember we had a bunch of the Herbie movies too. We used to watch those all the time. Davy Crockett. We had like
those.
we had both of those.
Okay,
So with Mike Fink, King of the River, which is so dumb, but oh my god, that was fun to watch. So he's gonna hold the cannon, isn't he?
you are talking about some straight up recorded off the Disney Channel.
It was
shit.
totally recorded.
Yeah. And I know
So,
that's how you saw all those Herbie movies too.
yeah. Well, actually, I think we had the big pushy, like the big like soft case.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we had a couple of those. So yeah, I remember those like where it was like a book
Oh,
that went around
the puffy.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
puffy.
the puffy
Yeah.
ones. It's weird.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, actually, those are the ones. Are some of those are the collector's items, but mostly the first run Disney animated stuff VHSs that they put on those puffy ass clamshells.
Mm.
And of course, the one with the obscene stuff on the Little
Uh,
Mermaid.
oh, I thought there was Aladdin. Oh no, you're right. It was the Little Mermaid. It had a dildo in the middle of the castle.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
I remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, and there
No,
was a line in the original Aladdin where he's a fly, and he tells Aladdin to ask her to take her clothes off. So
that's a line.
that's a line
Um,
that Robin Williams improv.
there's that. There is a topless girl in the. That's not the Adventurers, is it? The Rescuers.
The Rescuers, yeah.
Yeah, which I don't know how the first person saw that because it flies by in
Hmm.
just a fraction of a
Hmm.
second, but it's there. I remember there was a big the controversy was that they thought that the priest at the end of the Little Mermaid had a boner.
I don't remember that.
That's worth looking up. They
Okay,
say the argument is it's his knee, but
okay.
look for yourself.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put that in my search history. So,
Um, I remember that. I remember there is a part, and this is it's disputed, but there's a part where I think it's Simba lays down in the grass at the edge of this like cliff,
mhm.
and the dust just kind of rolls off, and it says the word sex.
Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah.
Yeah, look that one up. That one's for real. They say it's like no, we were giving special ups to our special effects team, which
Oh,
is why it
right,
says
right.
SFX.
SFX.
That is a lie.
Yeah, you just can't. I mean, this is all pre-internet age. You just can't get away with that shit anymore.
No,
So the
no.
fucking internet ruins everything, Jeff. So
All the fun stuff.
all the fun
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
all the
I
fun
know.
stuff. Yeah.
I know. Um, I mean, there was. This is not to say that like the '80s or the '90s were superior, but it was kind of cool when certain like rumors and stuff could actually persist for quite some time.
Listening to Art Bell in the 1990s,
You were getting a big kick out of that, weren't
I'm kind of done with it
you?
now because like I kind of mind down the Bigfoot
Yeah,
and the shadow
yeah.
people. I had to learn all about the
The
shadow
shadow.
people. Yeah,
What
so
was the shadow? I remember that.
it's just like it's like the kids with black eyes. So yeah,
Okay, yeah.
so it's all tied into some of the Appalachian stuff, you know. So and then the guy who was getting chased by the CIA. So over the course of several episodes because he escaped
Mm,
from Area 51. So
okay, yeah. That
and
sounds
so
kind of
there's this
familiar.
naivety
Yeah,
between behind like back in the bulletin board days, you know that it's
yeah.
just like, well, let me Google that. It's like can't find it. So it's like, So you think if there was a bottomless pit in the middle of Washington where you say the city and the ridge where it's at, it'd be marked on my Google Maps. So, you know, it's like, wait a minute, fucking internet, you ruined this, man. So
Yeah.
it just makes it no fun. So,
Again, that's not to say that there aren't some fun, internet things that have popped up from time to time. And people have done some very interesting things to sort of prop these things up, like the blue whale and like the Momo challenge and stuff like that. But
right.
when it comes down to it, that nobody's really done this stuff.
Hmm.
There's no substantiated person. But it is funny to see sometimes where like schools they've addressed it where they've said, "Hey, this dangerous thing is going
Do
around."
not do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had one of those going around not too long ago with my daughter's school. What the fuck was it? Oh yeah, it was setting your laptop on fire. Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
I
so
don't know this one.
so there was a TikTok meme going on for a little while. People like being done with like eighth grade or 12th grade. So
Okay.
so they torched their school issued laptop. So that's kind of like a rite of passage kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Were they actually doing that?
yes, yeah, enough for the school said if you do that, you're going to pay for it.
See, that's real though. That
Well,
actually.
enough for the point in time where there was also a notice issued by the fire department at the same time saying, that thing's got a fucking lithium battery in it. So
Yeah, and
yeah, what? So anyway, so that was the latest one. We had a few of those go through my college from time to time.
did you?
I can't remember which ones we did. I remember once this was a few years ago talking about Tide Pods. So
Yeah, yeah,
I do
yeah. I
remember the
remember
Tide Pod
those.
ones. So I don't know, man. So it's just like dude, I don't know what's been going on with Twitter lately, man. But I've just been seeing the stupidest fights go on between people that I used to respect.
Well,
And it's just like, man, it just ruins everything eventually. Nobody comes out of it clean, if you're on it long enough. So like last week, what the big fight last week was between um it was with Glenn Greenwald.
I was about to bring this up. Yeah,
Yeah, and his
yeah.
fucking sex tape, which was released by who? And it's like, oh, it must be the Mossad, blah blah blah, because he's anti-Israel. It's like, well, maybe it's these other guys down in Brazil, blah blah blah. Is there an answer to that? Does anybody know yet?
All right.
I think there's the theories, but I don't think there's any proof.
So there's theories. I don't think there's been any definitive answer
All
yet.
right.
There's also, all right. This is where sort of there was sort of like a Republican crisis of conscience at that moment too.
Last week?
Yes, because of
Oh.
that, right? Because
Dude, I saw there were weird white supremacist Twitter
they're around.
instantaneously became anti-gay Twitter. So,
They
or
always
anti-kink. We'll put it that way.
all right. This was all right. So this was the crisis, right? Well,
Okay.
so this thing gets released, and it's weird because after I took my dog the morning that this happened, right?
Mhm.
After I took my dog to the park, it's like 4 o'clock when I get back, and Greenwald is trending, right?
Right.
And I'm like, why?
Why?
And so I click the name, and I go down a little bit of the rabbit hole, and this is why. And so I see this video. I actually see.
Oh, I don't want to see the video.
Well, I've seen it. It's not. Here's you don't want to see it, but it's not as bad as you
I,
think.
I,
Let's just put
I,
it
I
that
I
way.
have an idea of what's on it. I'm not interested in watching that. So.
The description is fine, but so the trick is okay. So here's the bottom line: is he's made it clear. He's like, and he was surprisingly calm about this.
He
Right?
was. I did see his response. So
And he said, I did not release this. I think I do know who released this. But, just want to say, like, um, I'm not embarrassed about anything I do. This is between consenting adults, et cetera, right? And this is where, again, like, libertaria Twitter and Republica Twitter sort of are butting heads where there's a couple of like fucking like cigar jumping like classic guys being like fucking freak show, get out of my party, right? But there's
right.
a bunch of people who are like, wait a second, guys, we've been saying that what two people do in the confines of their own bedroom is their business. If this was leaked, and it shouldn't have been, why are you getting on this guy's ass? He didn't do this. Support the guy, right? That's the thing is like, which side are you on? And so there was a little bit of a hubbub for this for a little bit. It lasted like a day, right?
Yeah.
Then it went back under the radar because people, they came down to it. It's like, well, you didn't do anything illegal there, right? There's no version of this. The big concern. Some people are like, yeah, but that dude's got kids. I'm like, did you see the kids in the videos? Like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when it comes down to if there were children involved, yeah, your ass needs to be thrown in jail. But that didn't happen,
No.
right? So a lot of people just let it go. But for like a day, people were like, throw him out. He's a bad guy now. He's awful. He's gross. Like, fucking what you do behind closed doors is gross,
Probably.
right? None of our business. It's like, what would you do if somebody took this video and showed it of you, right? And
Mhm.
so there was this like corny ass little slap fight for about one day,
It was
and
pretty
then
serious there for at least a day, though. I mean, there
it
were there
was,
were a lot of guys who jumped his shit about that.
it was.
You know. And I don't know what exactly that is, whether it's just like anti-gay stuff or if it's just I don't know. Glenn Greenwald's one of those guys that I'm constantly like fighting my own inner like this guy's a fucking piece of shit. Yeah, I know. And so it might just be that too.
Well, there's a component of to me, there's a version of this where it's the same reason. Obviously, I don't conflate these two people, but it's the same reason why I haven't like cleaned house of people that I have disagreements with because I'm like, actually, this dude's an
Sure.
accomplished journalist, right?
Yeah.
Agree, he believes in certain things that I don't believe in, but he's a good journalist, and
Yeah.
this is the kind of thing that's healthy to see from other perspectives,
Yeah,
right?
no, I would put him in that camp. So, I mean, I'm totally like not on board with like any of his. I mean, he's definitely an America bad guy. So, and I don't like that. So, but I'll
But
listen
in the
to him.
least obnoxious way possible, at least for me.
In some ways, I don't know, man. His Israel stance is it's just something I don't get. Like I
Well,
really
if I
don't get.
recall, isn't he one of Greenwald's not one of the tribe, is he?
No, he might have been at some, but he's not anymore.
Thought he was, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, but no, he's very like it's genocide, blah blah blah.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's like, dude, come on. Um,
I mean, again, you can make that argument. It's I don't know. Um,
there's other reasons why you'd make that argument.
right.
So yeah, but yeah, it just seemed like a dumb fight.
It
So
was.
yeah, and
It
there's
was.
been a couple of those last I don't know week or two. That it's just like if it bleeds over into my shit, it's kind of like, really, what are you guys doing over
Yeah, that's kind of
here?
so the
So,
all right. So the weird thing about conservative Twitter backslash you know anti-gay Twitter slash all that other stuff, the things that intersect with each other, is that there are a couple like there's no presidents, there's no like real like hierarchy.
no,
There's a couple of like landowners, I guess I should say. There's a couple.
conservative Twitter.
Yeah, I guess the best way I can say it, there's a couple of like there's like some aristocracy in there in
Okay.
terms of like these guys control some space, right? And they have some serfs under them that do their fighting and all that stuff, couple of knights, whatever. So you get there and you look at the land of like Catturd and you look at the
Is he
um
conservative Twitter
he's conservative
or
Twitter.
is he
He's
libertarian Twitter? So, see, I don't get it anymore
right,
either. It's
right.
so thin sliced,
That's what
man.
I'm talking.
Yeah.
And because there are no actual like real representatives of this area, right? Some of their shit bleeds together. You go over there into like, oh well, this is Matt Walsh territory. It's like, so
Uh,
I'm the Duke of fucking.
I'm not too into Matt Walsh anymore, man.
Well, again, it's the weird thing where these guys have certain like
Yeah.
hangups where Matt Walsh is one of the dudes that will sit there and say like, the thing that I used to hate the most was we really need to do something about these video games. And that's one
What,
of
he's one of
my,
those guys?
he's one of those guys.
Oh.
And to me, that's one of those mating calls of, dude, what are you
Dude.
doing? Like, it's the same way that I would sort of take like a flat earther. It's like, if you believe this, um,
No, I saw Matt Walsh's movie with Robin DeAngelo,
oh,
and it's stupid, dude. The movie's dumb. I mean, anybody who fell for that, I mean, it's almost like, come on, man. Like, he was born at night, but it wasn't fucking last
I
night,
got you
kind
there.
of thing,
Yeah,
man.
no, it's,
I don't know, man. I mean,
yeah,
so like you see Charlie Kirk do stuff, like his debates and things. It's like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
cool,
yeah,
all
yeah,
right, so we're doing it live. Let's do it live.
yeah.
Matt Walsh is just everything seems to be. He's like, well, I'm going to make a thesis here, and I'm not going to tell you my thesis until the third paragraph. Guy.
Doing this European style, huh?
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
exactly.
all
I
right.
know, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just
yeah.
like, come on, bro. So I can't stand him. I mean, I don't mind. Like, and I agree with him on a lot of things, but it's like, why are you in this mix, dude?
Presentation is everything.
Yeah,
It's
I get it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and that's where you get into the different sides of this. This is where it's like, oh my god, it's the Baroness Laura Loomer. Like, great,
Oh,
wonderful. You know,
we
it's
already put
it's
her on the grifter list. I don't know why she holds so because she was talking to the
she does. She
administration
holds court,
yesterday,
man.
and I don't know what the fuck is like. So did she?
For what?
I don't know, man. This is like getting into conspiracy land here. But, it's like who do you have? What do you have and on whom?
A great question. A
Yeah, yeah.
fantastic question. I mean, we already have the little the little royalty within the party. Every now and then when uh, the actually elected officials, right?
Mm.
Every now and then when uh, which Marjorie Taylor Greene decides to speak out on behalf of all the white trash everywhere. Um, that happens. You've got a couple of people that pop up from time to time. Joe
We haven't
Kennedy,
seen
for example.
Lauren. I
Yeah,
haven't seen Lauren Boebert pop up at all lately. So
I think she had sort of a falling out with the white trash,
yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
but
But
she is
even
white trash.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, I've only seen her pop up like once or twice. It's like, I'm gonna vote for your bill. It's like, okay, don't.
It's free country.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's just, yeah, there's some elements of the Republican Party that they're having a little trouble right now. So,
Well, the weird thing is, I think with them, I think that the actual the superstars right now, the people that actually the guys that people actually like, aren't in Congress right now, and I think that
aren't in Congress?
I think a lot of them know that they don't really have much of a place going forward here because, like, let me put it to you this way: when it comes down to who it is that will inherit the throne of Trump, right? I don't
Oh,
think it's anybody in Congress that's going to be coming from there.
it's fucking JD Vance.
That's correct,
Yeah, I
right?
don't think anybody questions that anymore. And anybody who does question that isn't paying attention. So,
Anybody that does will get
yeah.
fucking whooped by his ass when it comes to.
Yeah.
I think, like, even at this point, like Ron DeSantis, he's like, I'm not fighting with that.
No, no,
This is
no.
a
He's
minimum.
done. He's
Yeah,
out. He's
yeah.
he's like I'm good. So he'll fish for a position in the Vance administration. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's basically cooked. And I don't know, man. I mean, he was a little overhyped as was, I guess. Because he didn't really fight for it. Um,
Yeah, he did kind of give up pretty.
he rolled over.
He didn't get mad. He wasn't just.
No, but you notice that every time that Donald Trump goes to fucking Florida, JD Van, or I mean, Ron DeSantis isn't like welcoming him in at the steps of the plane, kind of thing.
There's
Yeah,
there's
yeah, right.
there's no there's no getting off the plane rise, my friend. There's
Right.
no
Just
none of
walk
that
with
shit.
me.
Ain't none of that shit.
The double A.
No, that shit's kind of laid out. I think that's one of the tough things there is, yeah, there's people kind of like, I don't know what my role is in this going forward unless I'm already part of this spot, because I mean the superstars that are coming out of this, people are liking Vance, people are liking little Marco.
People are liking Little Marco. I think a lot of that'll depend on what exactly happens if Russia nukes Ukraine next week.
What's Why is this happening?
I don't know, man.
Why is NATO inviting Ukraine, to possibly talk about joining?
Well, they won't get it. I mean, I have no idea with that. They won't get into NATO. There's too many states that have already because to get in the club, everybody has to say yes.
Right.
We're not going to say yes to that. So that gives a whole shitload of other people, covered not to say yes to it.
Yeah.
So, and then on top of that, like the other thing is like, they're like, okay, well, fine, like try and let them into the EU. So first, and it's like, okay, do that. I have no fucking clue. Um, I mean, it's just it. That's why I want to see what some of these guys say about this thing because I was doing the math on this and I was actually going and there's a lot of bullshit in the news
Tell me.
about it. Like, so they say, well, first of all, like the first day we blew up 41 planes. And then the next day it was like, well, we hit 41 planes. So,
Okay.
and then we can confirm visual evidence that 12 of them were destroyed.
I mean, there were some fucked up planes there. I did see
There
that.
were some fucked up planes there, but you just got to do a little bit of math on this. Okay, so that's if they hit five airfields, all
Yeah.
right, one of them they didn't hit any planes on it. All right, so four airfields. That's 10 per airfield. All right, and each airfield probably, from what I've seen, has 80 to 120 planes on it.
Okay.
It's like, okay, all right, so got it. This is more like a boo, let me get some of your things. But then, like today, they were releasing some sat footage, because you can buy these commercial satellite photography, and I see a
Okay.
lot of
Yeah.
guys do that. It's expensive as fuck, but a lot of guys do that, and then they put it up on their blogs or their channels. And like one of the bigger ones, it's like okay, fine. So there's like eight airplanes that are on the runway that are destroyed, but then there's all these pylons with like eight of them parked here, and then eight more parked here, and then eight more parked
Mm.
over there. So it's like okay, so you guys didn't really take down Russia's nuclear triad,
Well, that wasn't.
And I
Oh,
mean, it's like okay, so and then the whole thing about the fiber optic, I hadn't seen that they had done that yet, but I wouldn't doubt it. The only thing that I saw was like, ooh, was Starlink involved and blah blah blah, and you
who the
know.
fuck cares if it was? But
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, can you pull this off without U.S. intelligence? And I think the answer is probably yes now. And so, much like the pipeline, I think they might have done this one on their own. And Donald Trump's probably pretty pissed.
that's what he said.
Yeah,
I'm inclined to believe him on that.
I'm kind of inclined to believe him on that too, because he was like, well, wait a minute, what? We almost had a ceasefire like last week.
Yeah.
Well, that's fucking cooked now. So, and so the whole thing just reeks of them trying to get us like further involved in this by specifically going over after like nuclear assets. But then the other thing is they actually have an excuse to do this because the Russians have been using those planes to fucking glide bomb their cities for the last month. So it's like, all right, well, if you're going to stop that, okay, this is how you do it, And so it's like, all right, well, okay, you guys are just going to have to sort this out. But the fundamental thing is like Russia can't take Ukraine, and Ukraine can do nothing to stop them from trying, and that's where we're at.
So, all right, this is you're absolutely right. And there's a couple of things here that struck me on that. Well, number one is like, all right, so if the message that you're trying to get across, and this is sort of a meaningful thing, is say like, all right, well, you can't take us, but what we can do, right, is here's the price of one of these,
Yeah,
here's the price of one of those,
yeah,
and we will continue to bleed
yeah,
you
yeah.
as long as you get. I'm like, that's a fair message, right?
I think that's exactly what they're going to try and do. So
Now, on the other hand, the other component here is like with fucking like Europe flapping their gums. When it came down to it, you know who's still buying all the fucking Russian gas?
Europe is, yeah, but not. I did see that the other day that they're down about 60% from where they were like 3 years ago.
They were, but
Yeah,
that's the ticker here is
they're still buying Russian
France is
gas.
still buying a whole shit ton of it.
Yeah,
They're the number one
yeah,
right now. But that's the trick here is, well, guys, if you want this to stop, right, everybody else can put sanctions on them all they want.
mm.
If you're not stopping buying their number one product,
Yeah. It's not.
right?
I mean, so the thing about the sanctions, someone explained this to me last week, and it really makes sense. So why the sanctions actually work? Okay, so the sanctions work if you look at that satellite image
Mm,
of your mother's home peninsula,
yeah,
and if you take a look at the effect of sanctions over the course of 20 years,
that's correct.
so that's kind of what that's how the sanctions kind of work. They're not going to stop Russia in the short term. In fact, I don't think the Russians actually give a fuck. So I don't think Putin gives a fuck. So because Putin's best way out of this is to win. So I mean that is his. I mean clearly, if you're going to play red team on this one, okay, what do? You wait. You wait and you just keep grinding on them, and eventually they're going to break. Okay, and you might inherit this absolute fucking shit show of a 20-year Vietnam, but you can do that under your own cameras, and not having
Right.
yeah. And so but still, he's never going to be able to take the whole thing. Um, it'll kill another million Russians because they've got new like estimates out there that have come from statistical analyses. Very clever ones, to tell you the truth. Looking at things like driver's license renewals.
Man,
this was, the Russians aren't very good at some forms of data security.
skilled hackers, terrible protectors. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
all offense,
Exactly.
no
No
defense. Yeah,
defense.
that
Yeah.
is
No
correct.
defense whatsoever.
I believe that. Well, and that was the that was the, that was the shit that blew my mind too when they were talking about how overblown China's population was. They're like, I
Yeah.
can measure this salt.
So yeah.
I was like, are you fucking kidding?
Yeah.
He's like, no,
No.
actually, here's what people use. This is how
Yep.
much people would use.
Yep.
This is the plus minus
Yep.
margin. You're short 400 million
I
people.
know. Yeah. Yep. So, and you guys got
Holy-
to import that shit so we can
yeah,
track it. Yeah.
yeah.
See, that's clever, man.
Um,
I mean, and that's the thing about like when you're dealing with like the law of large numbers like that, when you're dealing with a $1.2 billion or billion person population,
uh,
if you can find, anything like that that's statistically relevant, you can prove how many people are missing. That's what they're doing in Russia right now. They're saying there's a million dudes that are in the fucking ground. So,
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
good Lord, man. So,
Well, and I did hear this is one other thing I did hear. I got this from sources.
sources.
Was one of the things that has been happening in Russia, and they're seeing this sort of as a positive, right? As a result of the sanctions, is that they did say that one of the things that Russia is doing now, and this is just a question of opportunity with the things that have happened, is there is sort of a little bit there's a resurgence in internal Russia movement in terms of sort of independent, making the market work, setting up like
Yeah, just
resources,
doing your own thing.
doing
Yeah.
your own thing, which sort of the I think there's actually a pretty good argument to make that obviously I'm not putting this on the pandemic, but I think the pandemic is when a lot of people started waking up to global decoupling, right?
Yeah.
Getting what you can for a good deal, but absolutely not being dependent on each
Yeah. Yeah.
other
Yeah.
is
Well, especially for critical things, but
yeah.
like Russia, see the thing about it is, there's like it won't run out of energy and it won't run out of food. So it can do that.
Right,
All right, but that's what the Soviet Union did.
and not well.
Well, yeah, and I don't think anything would actually change that, in some respects. And I certainly wouldn't argue that we go completely self-sufficient. That'd be stupid. I mean, we're already food and energy independent. So we already lead in several key technologies, which we should export, you know. And so we should use those advantages while we can. I mean, if you go complete autarky, I mean, that's what Hitler did. That's what Stalin tried to do. That's what Mao tried to do.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean, the strategy has its limits, but then again, I mean, you can make the same argument for North Korea. So, I mean, the question there becomes is like, all right, so yeah, I mean, the thing that I think is interesting about Russia in particular, maybe you can ask your friends about this, is it seems like it's two cities that live in a completely different world than the rest of the fucking country.
That's
So
correct.
yeah, okay.
But,
So
well, okay, it's not just two. There's even like way more than the United States. It's like here are our 10 big cities.
right,
Everything else is just you're on your own, guys.
right.
Right?
See, and I've seen videos like that on Telegram and stuff where they're like, "Hey, man, our local well stopped working. We have to move.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Which
exactly. The local power plant got shut down, and nobody knows how to fucking fix it. So,
whereas you're talking that kind of shit here in the States is national news.
oh
That
yeah,
is like if a straight up town, like we're not talking about like the slow vacating of a town where, um, hey, we used to have uranium fever.
Uranium fever.
We used to have this here. We're out, right? We got it all out. So what's the rest of the town here? It's like, so we got the park.
Mm.
It's uranium-fied. We got the we
Don't touch the merry-go-round.
we got the uranium townhouses. We got the there's this thing where sometimes you have that slow migration out,
Right,
and
right.
it basically sort of like even still there's 50
Yeah.
hangers on that are kind of like that are waiting for the town to die and they'll die with it. But the migration of something like that having to have everybody leave
Oh
is
yeah.
unheard of.
No, it wouldn't. Yeah. I mean, it can't occur.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I have no doubt that Russia can fight this war for at least a couple more years. So the only thing that stops it is like Putin tripping over the last step
He
before he gets to
has.
the top.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that that
kind
that
of
that
thing.
that dude, you're right. That dude has been like walking over his own dick for a while because there's a component of like there is a piece that says like, hey, you know what? We expect to blitzkrieg this thing in like the first 2 weeks.
Right.
It's like, did it work? It's like, does it fucking look like it worked? So okay, so here's what we do. All right, what do you do?
What do you
All
want
right,
me to do?
we're gonna pull back. We're gonna rethink this for a little while.
No, he didn't do that either.
That didn't
No,
happen.
no,
No,
no.
no.
He was like, no, send in more army.
Are we
So
making more army? Are we
now we
manufacturing
are
more
making
army?
more army. Yeah.
It's like, is it any good?
Nah, nah. It's not bad.
Well, I will also say this. This is also sort of this is very much making the point of um, quality over quantity is definitely the new way to go in a lot of
It
ways.
kind of seems like it, man.
Yeah,
Well, and that's the other thing is like, I mean, the armies that are fighting each other in Ukraine and Russia, they're not that big.
no,
So, and they're pretty spread out. I mean, we don't have like concentrations like, fucking Stalingrad, where
no,
there's like
no.
9 divisions facing, the Panzer Corps of the Third Army,
Right.
whatever. It's nothing like that, man. It's like it's a couple hundred guys who hold, a couple miles, and they're all spread out and they live underground at night, and they basically just hold the ground and dodge drones. And that's why it takes a lot of fucking blood to move them, because they're just it's like, they defend these little rat holes, and then they get on fucking dirt bikes and they boogie, and then they go big new ones, 5 miles or a mile away, and so like I mean neither of the sides, like almost all the equipment that we've sent them in terms of armored vehicles, they're all destroyed.
Yeah,
So they've lost
yeah.
all. The only thing that we've sent them, and we didn't actually send them any of these, but the only thing that they actually really have much of a use for is the fucking F-16s,
Oh yeah,
which are
yeah.
great, but we didn't give them any. So I mean, they all came from like France and Belgium and stuff. So I mean, we still send them a little bit of ammo, but Europe sends them a lot more than we do now. And so we're kind of like out, I mean, we don't give them money anymore. So,
Mhm.
like this one thing that Doge definitely put an end to. Um, one of
It
about 3 things. So,
had
dude, I'm
times.
sorry, man. I kind of like, I knew that I had a bad feeling that was going to happen.
The utter cowardice of it.
It is, but it's also like he didn't play that game very well either. So, I mean, I could have told you, I think I did, like 3 months ago. Is like, you can't run that like a business, man. You're not the
Well,
only dude around here who signs checks.
there's a component of this where, all right, clearly, and there's just no two ways around it. The Congress and the president's office are not on the same foot.
I don't think the president's on the side of Doge either, to tell you the truth.
Well,
He wants this fucking deal. So,
well, I got you there, but there's a component of this where the cheerleaders of what's been going on from there have not been coming from the Congress, right?
no, of course not.
And I think there's a lot of people in there who don't want a whole bunch of this. And if you were going to cheerlead on this, you actually did need their support because ultimately there would be moments where you got to codify this stuff. And
You have to, and the problem with any kind of cuts is cuts must be bipartisan.
yeah,
Then you can't do it with a 6 vote majority. It's just not doable, man. I mean, so yeah, I think Elon and I think Vivek actually was smart enough to see that. He's the guy who ducked out.
well,
I think he was actually like, well, that's not gonna work like that if you want to do it like that, boss.
all right.
So
Now, what I can say is, although I didn't get everything I wanted out of this year, right? Obviously, because Uh, and there were some things that absolutely were. There were plenty of things that were pointed out. And I think that more so, if there's a victory to be taken, is that, yes, there is a lot of awareness about some of the shit that was going on.
Well,
And I think
USAID
that's,
is good.
yes, yes.
I think that's worth it right there.
That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Is that there's a lot of people. There's a couple of things that I think have changed in a very positive way. That's one of them. Okay, but also the utter dismantling of trust and use in that extra branch of government we used to call mass media, and the fact
Oh,
that
it's cooked.
those things have basically been uprooted, dug out, embarrassed, exposed as the frauds they fucking are,
Yeah.
is two huge victories of what's happened here, regardless of who was spearheading them. Um, and I think that's a big, 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 big deal.
Yeah, I agree. I think the traditional media is I mean, I don't think it's completely sunk, but it'll never be the same.
Nope,
Um,
nope.
there are entire generations to end on where we started of people who will never watch it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and so
Always distrusted.
always
Always.
distrust it. And so now we're getting to the point in time where you're just going to get your news like you used to, man. So back in the day where, you had fucking 1,000 goddamn newspapers across the country,
Yep,
it's going to be the same thing. You're going to pick the one that you want to live next to.
yep,
So,
yep.
and you know what, dude? Country did just fine for 200 years like that. So we'll be okay.
We did, and again, this is
We
one
don't
of
need to have three TV stations. I mean, it's okay to have 1,000.
totally fine. That's absolutely true. And I guess the other component of this here is, uh, on top of that, um, that aspect of, yes, you should have that, but also I think there's also a little bit. I understand that there are some people that do buy into shit hook, line, and sinker. They see some fucking like old video from 2021 and they're like, oh, this just happened.
Right, right, right.
Um, but I think there's also a lot more of like fucking just like, wait a minute, just grain of salt
Just
shit.
yeah, yeah.
Grain of salt. Give it a second. Let's see if just wait and see if somebody else says this is true.
Just wait and see. Yeah, just give it a second. And see, that's the thing I've noticed about Twitter is Twitter has turned into what someone put it the other day. It's a very large Discord where it's slowly whittling down to the same people who need to get in on the news every like second of the day,
Uh,
and everybody else is kind of learning. Is like, well, just wait. Just give it another day, man, and see what. And that's where I'm at with the Ukraine thing right now, man. I mean, he was on the phone with them today. We'll see what fucking happens tomorrow. I don't know.
well, I mean,
I'm done speculating on it.
American consumers have made something very clear over time, and when it comes down to like a lot of the artists that you listen to, their best-selling albums are greatest hits,
Correct.
and this is sort of what Twitter is sort of whittling down to. Is you can go ahead and play the singles and individual like Billboard game, but at the end of the day, okay,
Right.
after you guys have had your retarded slap fest all day, what's the greatest hits of what went down
There
today?
you go. Yeah.
And I think that's, you let the reporters settle that out instead of basically saying, actually, what we have here is about 10 media giants, and they're going to dictate the way that things are coming out. It's like, nah, we saw that.
That's over, man.
Y'all tried that.
Yeah. In
Yeah.
fact, they're all breaking ranks too, man.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes.
And everybody's laughing at him, like Jake Tapper, So like
Jake Tapper's going to skate because there's just too
he's
much.
gonna skate just because he's the first guy to like actually hit the fucking ripcord.
That's correct. Yeah, I can tell you who tried to do that. Corinne Jean Pierre today tried to.
Dude, and she got roasted immediately for it. So everybody's like, "Don't buy the book," She's not independent. Like someone asked her, "Are you more or less liberal than you were before?" It's like because if you say more, you're not independent. That's kind of funny, man. So, and I saw her going on a thing today, and I mean, even like I watched some guys who are pretty neutral, and they're like, "Oh my god."
Like a lot of people could do this, but not you.
Yeah.
Fucking like the last remnants there, like Jen Psaki's show got canceled.
Oh, did it?
It did.
Okay.
It did. It got replaced with reruns of some bullshit. So that nobody from that nobody from that era exactly has
Mm-mm.
any kind of love left for them. It's like you guys were all shit heels. Everybody's over here trying to pretend like everybody that has somewhere is like, I saw him a couple times. I think he was just fine. He seems sharp as a tack. I'm like, you're a liar. Everyone that says this is a liar. Fuck all of you.
Someone's going to figure that out. And they're going to break loose here, especially if she's trying to jump ship now, but see, the thing is like his inner circle is so small. So it was only like five people.
Yep.
And there's arguments about whether or not she was one of them, but she's definitely the closest one so far to try and jump ship.
Yeah.
So if she gets roasted alive for it, I mean, she should just pull the ripcord too and say, all right, fine, I fucking lied. I did that because I thought I was doing the right thing, and I have a boss, and he told me to do it for him.
Right.
It's like, okay, cool, dish. All right, so dish it all out, and maybe you can land yourself a little jobby job somewhere. Otherwise, nobody's going to take you seriously anywhere where you go forever from now on. You got to come clean, man.
Well, it's the easiest thing in the world to say, like, so guys, I gotta say something. It's like, all right, I worked for the most important person on the planet. And I don't know if you guys understand this, but there are consequences to going against the grain. I was told
that'd be perfect.
And he's like, I was like mad every day when I came out here with this shit.
Okay.
Got it. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it's just that's not how it's.
That's not how it's going to pan out. I mean, there's a couple of politicians that have been doing that in some respects. Not the ones that need to in the Democrat Party, but.
Well, the oldest of the old guards are going away and dying.
Yeah,
and
they are.
God.
I get that, but the lady who's going to write the book is going to be the lady who fucking knifed him in the back. So,
Nancy Pelosi.
You got to watch for that one, man. So I don't know if she'll ever do it. So, but she's the one that everybody's kind of looking at now. Is like, yeah, Joe Biden tried to pull one on her. And she knifed him for it. So
that's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So doesn't mean we have to like her, but she was the one who killed him.
So what you're
if you're gonna write a book about Caesar, you'd really like to talk to Brutus.
So what you're hoping for, and Patrick, I love this. I mean, so if tomorrow the New York Times bestseller list has a book called Right Between the Shoulder Blades.
Okay, all right. I might wait till the library gets it. But I would like to read that book.
Absolutely, yes.
I think it'd be a rip-roaring read.
The very, very, very one-sided presentation of how I saved this country by stabbing an old man in the back.
Saving the ship estate by killing an invalid.
Famous last words. Huh?
That great TikTok voice. Hello?
All right.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay, I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
Hitting the button.
Yep.